Hello, my friends. We are told one day truth will be revealed to all mankind. We know about this evil plot that was against us all, and at one point it's going to take place. But they call it a great deception. Well, we're not sure of what happened, but a king told us that in the future there's going to arise false saviors, false prophets of your timeline. And they're going to show great signs and wonders. And if it were possible, they will deceive the very elect of God. Now, this video is not me trying to preach to anyone. I just want you to see the crazy stuff happening. And it was written down thousands of years ago, and you can't make this up. If there's a warning to us or any information to help in any way in any of these books, I believe that we should share it with the world. Now, so much goes on without anyone's knowledge, like every day. One day goes by, unremembered by the next. But it's all a strategic plan. Normal people didn't think of this. Okay, this is for dominion and control. Today, I'm going to document the time, the issues, and what is the cause. And I will show you the battle plan, and I'm going to show the hands of the deceivers, you would call them, and the warnings left to us about it all. Now, according to our grandfathers, certain things and events are going to take place in our times. The story of man, from Adam and Eve, was passed down from generation to generation as truth. People actually fought wars and died over the words of these books. So, the plan has been in place for thousands of years, and it's slowly being implemented whether they mean to or not. Have you noticed that? Now, surely you can see the spiritual war, though. Like, that's the whole key thing, and how the enemy of God and man is working the scam. Mainly, it's by omitting or deleting information and knowledge. Now, moving on to the knowledge part, we know that the books of light were the target for centuries. Most of them have not been read or even seen for thousands of years, if that. Now, they probably never will be too, right? But recently found in our time is vast collections of Dead Sea Scrolls, other books, thought not to exist and even denied. And the Apocrypha, and no telling how many more, were excluded from circulation and publishing. It's part of the bigger plan too, and it's worked perfectly. Now look at how many religions there are. This was by design. We were misled into not knowing what really to believe. And if you do that, humans have this tendency to start fighting. Now, when these different beings showed themselves to humans, we have to just take this at face value. Some of our ancestors worshiped them as gods. We have to accept that, all right? Okay, that happened, and they were merely watchers. Their job was to keep stability and problems from occurring till we were able to. But somehow, some way, they seem to have broke protocol and interfered with a new civilization, right? We know that this is like the galactic, rule number one, right? Don't interfere. Isn't that what Captain Kirk said? Now, they all but destroyed us, and I'm going to prove it with a few of our grandfathers' words that were left to us. But first, why would this free energy be hidden from humanity? Besides greed, the answer is obviously not good and very nefarious. Now, there's so many whistleblowers currently stepping up and speaking out. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this, but about the things hidden. Now, why would the true world be a secret to us anyway, and only known by the powers that be? Well, it should tell you a lot about who we are dealing with when these alleged extraterrestrials have been rubbing elbows the whole time with these people. The men of Earth that constantly try to delete it, they made contact with those guys. I mean, I'm just going to say, look, they didn't choose someone like Tom Cruise or something, or maybe I don't know, right? Someone that wasn't continually trying to kill everyone. No, they chose the U.S. government and its buddies, or like I call them, the all-star clown show, the purest of evil that exists on this planet. Honestly, ask yourself if I'm wrong, and did they really come in peace to save you? Please spare me. Where were these beings at when tragedy struck our world? Not helping us for sure. Think of all the times in history that these things have been around and allegedly, stepped in. Whatever's happened, But think of all that they have witnessed, all the wars and death and just no reason. And they did nothing and decided the best reasoning from a billion-year-old evolved advanced civilization is to give a bunch of idiots weapons and technology so they can kill everybody? Yeah, we're just going to be probing for a few thousand years. We'll see you guys when you guys get better after they kill you. Whatever. In the last few years, we have seen the Antiquitech on the old buildings that got totally denied. The immovable stones just explained away all these years with these idiots telling us how they pulled them with rocks and whatever. But we knew history was wrong. We knew they had technology because all the ancient stories tell technology. We see it. The writings, the ruins, they're everywhere. It's all been denied by mainstream. Even when they see it with their own eyes, they deny it. Well, the U.S. government and the International Coalition of Nations, which you know who they are, well, they're hiding technology. It has now been 100% confirmed. And the media is silent. Their number one co conspirator for this whole time for suppressing truth and releasing propaganda provided by them. Now, this trick has been played on all mankind, and all countries are in on it. The ones that are not, remaining silent to me is just as offensive because you're benefiting, trust me. Now, this evil plot that has been underway since the beginning of human society is almost at full send, people. On June the 10th to the 13th, the National Press Club 2023 will once again convene in Washington, D.C. It will be a 3-day conference for the full disclosure of all known or secret events and knowledge of UAP or UFOs, all patents and blueprints of free energy generators, etheric motors, and the entire known technology of etheric energy. Although this has been secret for many years, it's well known by us for sure, by scientific fields, and has been for many, many years. See, I dare say it's been thousands of years they've known this, if not hundreds. They announced that they will be revealing proof with witnesses, the disclosure of all illegal dark projects, the so called extraterrestrial beings and what they know about them, mainly the highly advanced technology and the free energy taken away from humanity. And this will be both ancient and current technology. Oh my God, that makes me so mad, right? Also being revealed are the secret labs, facilities, locations, entrances, also their employees, members, private corporations, companies, everyone. Even universities are named, suppliers, everything will be revealed. Also, one of the things they denied, all that goes on in the deep underground bases or behind the closed doors of them. Included is all lists and names of every project funded by secret overlords, secret societies, and governments. Now, the patents, they're going to be exposed to, and proof of how they were all bought up, hidden, who has them, and so on. You see, no one has control or oversight over these secret places because, well, they're denied and they don't exist. So you can't ask for something that doesn't exist when you ask for proof. Now, they've been denied by everyone that's involved for so many years that the laboratories, storage facilities, training centers, all that stuff were just called conspiracy theories. But now it seems like, I guess someone owes somebody an apology because these places are occupied and run by both citizens and government officials. That's what makes it so illegal in lots of ways. And I'll tell you why. This, according to the United States Constitution, is highly treasonous. Now, a government, or the U.S. at least, cannot act on its own or go rogue against its people. It's strictly forbidden. Now, it is even being alleged that in the American Mojave Desert, there is an entrance to a deep underground base that is said to be 1,500 square miles big. Now, supposedly, that will be released to the public as well. We'll find out in a couple of days. There is also, this is allegedly, it's out there for you to see. There will be over 750 whistleblowers that have already came forward to make clear the corruption and deceit. Man, y'all, this is just too good to be true, right? I'm gonna comment about that. Now, the most high-ranking officials in actual operations currently underway will also be attending or providing information. See, okay, like I said, this is highly treasonous, and it's probably illegal in every country. But in America, it's unconstitutional according to the law. Now, I assure you, you have no idea the magnitude of what crazy has been going on that we were not aware of. I mean, I'm even shocked at what I saw and read. You need to go look at it too, because I dare not post anything until this meeting is over this weekend and everything is made public. That's how bad I feel like it is. And for a better insight on it, just go to Dr. Stephen Greer and see the full disclosure coming. I'll try to put it in the description there. Yep. So disinformation and cover ups have all been in place and implemented for many, many years. It's just that technology's done caught up to their lies that they were told. Now, the secrets that are going on are not any part of any government that's known. They are involved, but they're not the overseers. These projects and funding is all hidden from the public, and no records are even available, like to the president's past. And it says no public official has had or been able to have power over them or any kind of oversight. And it kind of tells you, about Kennedy and all the other things that's happened that, well, it says the information to be released is said to contain proof that there seems to be two sets of governments or authorities, two leaders. One we vote every 2, 4, and 6 years, and one that we do not, who is permanent, acting rogue. We don't know yet, and they're going to tell us. It appears to go across all levels of government and all countries as well. We being with yet America is the ringleader. Of course they are. Of course. I mean, we are the laughing stock. I mean, here we are in a republic, okay? And the republic for which it stands is about to fall. They literally have just like indicted President Donald Trump. And while they while they launder money and like everyone knows they're so crooked and knows the truth, the kind of larger portion of the masses, they kind of don't know what's happening right in their face. And until it's all said and done, nobody will know, and they'll flip it to CNN or Fox News, and they'll tell them what to believe. You see what I mean? And it's pretty bad. Like the CIA and FBI and DOJ, everyone's acting rogue, and they've already been busted out. But well, to go after somebody for paperwork and make a big, because they know it's going to be a big deal. I think it's again just something to mask over what's about to go down. The CIA, FBI, and all of them in charge of law enforcement, they are said to have been acting rogue as well, working with the shadow government and secret societies and not with the people that actually hired them and entrusted them. Now, it says we will find out the name, complete lists of all names, both famous people. Now, allegedly, right, is famous people, unknown people, everybody will be made public by June 12th of 2023. Apparently, most of these people to be named are not elected officials, although it says there is a large list of them. But it's public and private citizens um, mixed with high-ranking officials, gosh, huge companies that are also illegally funded by taxpayer money. See, it's horrible. See, basically, everyone is corrupt, if you want me just to be totally honest and just be done with this. And it'll all have to be dismantled piece by piece. And we pretty much knew this, and it should be no shock to anyone. But this tech from the beginning, only recently hidden from humanity by the clown show and their buddies, I think it's the original people, the original beings from the ancient stories with this tech. Apparently, there's evidence that these beings or aliens are some sort of like a stamped out life form, right? Like copies or like experimental Edgar suits or something, right? More is going to be released on them as well. All right, so on to Dr. Greer. I want to include this. I do not trust Dr. Greer. Okay, if you go and look at everything, he seems like he has a good heart. He seems like a good man. He's been fighting this fight for so long, people. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he's trying to do it, because he's a good man. Let's just say that. And if that's the case, then I think that he himself doesn't see, because he's fought so hard to bring this to light, that he doesn't see what's happening. Okay. You see, the way most Christians reacted to these otherworldly beings in a very negative way in the past, right? I mean, look, trusting a little alien being was not on the top of what we would do back then, all right? And I think it's all a setup. This is a scheme to make you believe with Dr. Greer, whether he's in on it or not, y'all. But when you go look at this, you're going to see the big scam going on. And I think that after these things were friends with the secret societies of the world for 80 years, sharing technology with them, like since the 40s, now they want to be our friends. And the government's going to like throw some people under the bus. And, but the main thing was they wanted us to be friends with these things, right? Now, Dr. Greer also does not believe in God, but he's into that chakra and meditation. They admit that these are beings of light, and some of them, I don't know. I don't trust him. Just go look, because what a plan it would be. Tell on the people committing treason, right? How dirty they are. And say the beings that have been in contact with the worst of us now want to help humanity. A few people get sacrificed, so to speak, to the world while the main event still takes place. Why? Well, it seems too perfect, people. Too dangerous. Too much at one time. I mean, think about it. The so-called alien friends literally watched them try to kill us and control us this whole time. All these thousands of years and did nothing to stop them. It's all a lie. I know it seems too silly. You're going to see this, and it's literally written down. It's happened before. The past explanations we know as technology were seen, misunderstood, translated. However, it got kind of lost from the historians, scientists, and explorers, right? But I'm going to take you back in time to a few key moments of documentation of advanced technology going back thousands of years. Now, I believe that our grandfathers warned us about this entire group of people, these beings and events. The story says apparently Satan will convince the world's leaders, to join him and go into battle against God and his angels. Have you never often wondered how in the world would someone convince somebody to fight God? It's easier than you think, and imagine, if you will, you believe that we fly through space on a ball chasing the sun. And the universe is infinite area, and there's an alien force coming to get us from the heavens. All the nations will be called on together. We have seen the movies, they have planted it in your head, and they're going to gather the armies together to attempt to defend the earth. And it seems very plausible and very likely. You don't even have to be from here or be a human to know that's what would happen. But it's all planned. Here's Ronald Reagan many, many years ago. And if you have not seen this yet, it is worth at least seeing and hearing once before you hear about aliens. You decide.
We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Yeah. See, technology is old. It has been around for a long time, and I claim the angels even used it. In fact, there's too many to tell at once, but there are some very strange stories that can be found. And one of them is in part of the Dead Sea Scrolls. In the book of the Wars of Yahweh, the Wars of Jehovah, it says, "The leader of the Edomites sent forth his chariots into the shallows of the river. Then did a silver beast descended from the cloud in the likeness of a great bird, and spat bolts of lightning from its wings into the water, and the horses of the chariots died. And the men of the chariots shook as with palsy, fell to the waters, and drowned. Then a great flame emitted from the mouth of the beast, and the host of the Edomites were consumed." Well, all righty then. Now, they got freaking electrocuted. Okay, by from what appears to me to be a plane of some sort shooting stuff, then napalmed, burned, or something. But look, it appears to be mechanical, not angelic, does it not? I mean, who are we to know what kind of weapons that God has or uses? You know, I mean, is it so hard for you to understand that the God Most High is the only God that actually thinks that, barbecues smell good and drinks wine and appreciates stuff like that and understands, resting and chill? I mean, I don't know, right? All these other gods are just, wood and stone, right? Well, we are familiar with stories of spiritual beings stepping into a bad situation and giving somebody a sword, a hammer, a relic, something to fight against, evil or a bad person or a bad situation, right? So why would it not be physical, right? But another story from ancient times that stood out to me was Enoch and what happened to the watchers. When I looked into these little alien creatures, they're said to smell horrible, and at death they smelled like like god awful, like so much they couldn't even stand it. And here's the thing: they smell like sulfur or rotten eggs. Come on, y'all, that strikes my senses as too weird. Now, by every account, the victims were not saying how sweet and friendly they were either, but it's opposite. They always tell how they felt so dark and upset and physically everything, sick, nauseated, scared, because they said that these beings wouldn't speak. They would like talk to them in their mind, right? Now, from Enoch, we read, and now the giants, the Nephilim, who are produced from the spirits of flesh, shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies because they are born from men, and their holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits they shall be called. As for the spirits of heaven, heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of earth, which were born upon the earth, on earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food. It's important, y'all. But nevertheless hunger and thirst and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against the women, because they have what? Proceeded from them. What's the first thing that these things say? We came from you. Literally, one of them said, we proceeded from you. Oh gosh, okay, it seems a little far-fetched, or does it? Now, these aliens apparently don't eat, and all that, right? It's weird. But remember, these little 4 foot tall entities are an exact match to what happened to the Watchers. They were stripped of their human looking bodies, stripped of their beauty and their powers. They were made frail and weak, and above all, they were made ugly and sterile. Sterile, so that no Nephilim will be born again. What do they not have? Of course, genitalia. Also, they have soft, like wet, moist, grayish blue skin, long arms and hands, right? Like, almost the arms are just as long, right? And big eyes. Once again, our grandfathers. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof dried up, that the way of the kings of the east should be prepared. And I saw 3 unclean spirits. These things are always in threes. Remember the movies? And then when they're sitting in the spaceships, they're always in threes. And I saw 3 unclean spirits that looked like frogs come out of the mouth of that dragon and out of the mouth of that false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles to go unto the kings of the earth and the whole world, to gather them to battle of that great day of God Almighty. Well, now imagine that. They look like frogs. Now, once again, friends, you want us to be friends with those guys? No. See, you're friends with them, and you know what they're going to do? Oh, no, look what's coming to get us. And that's how they're going to turn everybody. I don't know, because either way, it's going to work. And during the UFO files I looked through, I saw that these crafts would be surrounded with lights in multicolors. And it always said a cloud like mists and, something about clouds and mists, right? Well, our grandfathers, once again, there is so many to list. I'll just give you one. And I saw another mighty messenger come down from heaven, clothed in a cloud of mist, and a rainbow was upon his head. Always a mist, always cloud, and colors of the rainbow, just like we see and document. These crafts do exactly this. Now, also, it's not a new happening, but it's the same old stories. Now, Enoch instructs one of the watchers to come down from flying around in the book of Enoch before God sees him, because apparently God's pretty upset at this point in time. And Enoch 56 says, it tells us about the last days and what the fallen angels will be up to. It says, and in those days the angels shall return and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and the Medes. They shall stir up the kings so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them. And they shall arouse their thrones that they may break forth like lions from their lairs and as hungry wolves among their flocks. And they shall go up and tread under foot the land of his elect ones. See, they did that, and they are doing it. This is all happening right now, and you just look around you. This is playing out right this minute, and it has been planned for so many years. This alien war, all the humans banding together, the nations, the religions, uniting as one people to join forces. It is all made up and just a show, but it's part of what has to pass regardless of how you feel about it. You just need to know this is all a lie. Now, here is Dr. Rosin. This is Werner von Braun's assistant when he was dying. She's who did his all his speeches and everything for him. Now, here's her message to the entire world from Werner von Braun, NASA's rocket man.
Braun's purpose in life during the last years of his life, his dying years, was to educate the public and decision makers about why space-based weapons are a dumb, dangerous, destabilizing, too costly, unnecessary, unworkable, undesirable idea, and about the alternatives that are available. And as practically a deathbed speech, he educated me about those concepts and who the players were in this game, and gave me the responsibility, since he was dying, of continuing this effort to prevent the weaponization of outer space. He invited me to come up on the platform with him, and actually he's holding on to me in this picture. I'm trying to get off of the platform, and he's holding on to this, trying to make me laugh. He's telling me jokes. When Werner von Braun was dying of cancer, he asked me to be his spokesperson, to appear on occasions when he was too ill to speak. And I did. And what he asked me to do was to educate decision makers and the public about why we shouldn't be putting weapons in space, why they're a dangerous, destabilizing, too costly, unnecessary, untestable, unworkable idea, and what the alternatives are, how we could be building a cooperative space system. What was most interesting to me was a repetitive sentence that he said to me over and over again during the approximately 4 years that I had the opportunity of working with him, and that was the strategy that was being used to educate the public and decision makers, and the scare tactics, the spin that was being put on a weapons system. And that was how we identify an enemy. The enemy, at first he said, the enemy against whom we're going to build a space-based weapon system that he thought was a ridiculous idea, unnecessary and very dangerous, not to mention too costly, etc. The strategy that Werner von Braun taught me was that first the Russians are going to be considered to be the enemy. In fact, when I met him in '74, they were the enemy, the identified enemy. We were told that they had killer satellites. We were told that they were coming to get us and control us, the dirty commies, that whole story. First, the Russians were the enemy against whom we're going to build space-based weapons. Then terrorists would be identified, and that was soon to follow. We heard a lot about terrorism. Then we were going to identify third world country crazies. We now call them nations of concern. But he said that would be the third enemy against whom we would be needing to build space-based weapons. And the next enemy was asteroids. Now at this point, he kind of chuckled the first time he said it. Asteroids, against asteroids we're going to build space-based weapons. So it was funny then. And the funniest one of all was against what he called aliens, extraterrestrials. That would be the final card. And over and over and over during the 4 years that I knew him and was giving his speeches for him, he would bring up that last card. And remember, Carol, the last card is the alien card. We're going to have to build space-based weapons against aliens. And all of it, he said, is a lie. A lie.
Yep. So now at the time of the interview, remember, she didn't know about the fake moon rocks that were petrified wood, and she didn't know anything about the low Earth orbit issue that NASA's having right now. Oh, and the NASA swimming station. I'm just saying, when you hear the whole interview, just remember, she doesn't know at this time that like space is kind of unreachable and possibly maybe non-existent. We don't know yet. So this is a lie. All right. And, well, it makes no sense strategically. You understand that? To be enemies with all of mankind, then what? Right? What's the end outcome that's wanting to be achieved here, right? It doesn't make any sense. Well, that's where we're going to turn to our grandfathers. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. Now that's kind of straightforward, but literally we are foretold that men will gather the armies of the world together at a place called Armageddon to fight God. It literally says it. It's not they're not being sentimental or it's not representing some beautiful poem or some psalm. It's pretty straightforward. Now, in light of the evidence that will soon be given to us, the lie that gets exposed, it seems that we should remember these warnings. They've been given to us by our ancestors, not these clowns. They knew this was going to happen. There's no way they would have known by guessing or by chance that this was coming and this was going to happen. This deception was going to go on. They would have never known. So, here, another one. After this I look and I behold, an innumerable multitude of men were gathered together from the four winds of heaven to make war against the man who came up out of the sea. And I looked, and behold, he carved out for himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. And I tried to see the region or place from which the mountain was carved, but I could not. After this look, and I behold, all who gathered together against him to wage war with him were much afraid, yet they still dared to fight. Now this is deep, y'all, and it seems like where it's going, I'm just saying, this all seems to be playing out correctly. And what we know would happen tomorrow, okay, think of this. Would this if something descended from the heavens and sat on top of a mountain, no matter where it was at, and either a real spaceship from man or technology of God, whatever, okay, the same outcome would happen. The armies of the world would unite against that alien force. You can bet on that. Yep, and we can't forget that this story goes back and explains almost word for word exactly what's happening. Like I said, I mean, I know I keep repeating that, but if you just do your own research and you just search yourself, you're going to see that it all makes perfect sense. And all right, I'm going to take off with it, and you're going to see how this kind of plays out with mankind. But there has to be something that we're missing, because I don't know everything. I'm just laying this out for you, because when we get done, you're getting flashy thingied anyway, so don't make your brain hurt. But check this out. Enoch 8:1, all right. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones and coloring tinctures. So check out the Egyptians. The one thing that they pushed the most on us, like, that's the one place that like we have the most, history on, right? Notice the coloring of their eyes, the metal, the armor, the paints. It's the exact same thing like we are told the Watchers showed the women. Look at the huge men and the strange flesh beings they bowed to, the hieroglyphs, they show it. A literal painted picture. And there are people around at this time that knew better and rejected it, but nonetheless, there they are, the stories, the beings. They'll always be remembered. They were etched in stone, passed down. Or Were they planted? I mean, at this point in time, I don't know, but they're still worshiped today. And look, it's crucial that I tell you this, that what I found in all my readings, that and if you deny this, that means you deny your own reading and the own people that document the world. You're going to see when you go back that there's only one God in the beginning of our existence on our timeline. I'm sorry to say that, and I hate to be that way, especially since my family is so diverse and mixed in religion and race and everything. But at one point in the past, all the world knew who the God referred to as the Most High was. They knew him as the good guy, okay? And apparently, every king, scribe, wise man, holy man, common man, everyone knew, even bad people knew. I mean, if they didn't know, they found out real quick. But it says even Satan and his demons knew this. Because if you believe there is but one God, you do well. The devils also believe it and tremble. You see, all of a sudden, there were man-made gods of wood and stone inserted into our history like this sacrificial time of innocence, right? It's ridiculous. Wickedness, evil, we don't have the full story, so it seems, outlandish to us. But it's all done, and it was on purpose for men to reign sovereign over one another. And it's completely apparent if you have any type of, realism about you, that this was the work of someone wanting the separation of humans against human, right? But this eternal fight for whose God was more powerful, what story was more legit, and how do you ruin everything? You insert all the lies. And I claim, based upon plain facts, all religions are completely made up and false, every single one of them, and not thousands of years ago either, like hundreds maybe, okay? Now, a man named Jesus, our Messiah, was not a Jew, a Baptist. He was not a Methodist. He wasn't a Quaker. He wasn't a priest. He wasn't a Catholic or a Muslim. He wasn't a Jehovah's Witness. No disrespect, but it's true. All scriptures our grandfathers left us, and any book of enlightenment should always be known and should have been shared by all of mankind together like we used to do, but they do not anymore. And if they did, we've lost that timeline. No current religion is ever claimed by any of these scribes of old, ever. Now, you can come in later on, thousands of years after these things take place and what happened, and sure, people come along and make up religions. It's amazing. Just like they warn us, they're like, hey, people are going to come along and make up religions. I mean, we get literally told that, but nobody cares, Now, the story doesn't play out perfectly, right? It's okay. We kind of get the gist of it. And in my heart, all right, y'all, this does not mean doom for one religion over the other. You have to be realistic about things. By our hearts and what we do, we all will be judged. It does not matter one way or the other, how much money you got, what color you are, who your mom and daddy was. I'm telling you, this was put in to be the main stumbling block, the chaos that makes people not believe, or the wicked and evil not fear what they do will be held against them, And you see, I'm sharing these two things to help explain my views and why I document this today, because the worship of the powers of the air and every false god of old you can think of is now currently being done. They're doing it. They look to the heavens and tell of things to come. It's like always doom and danger. And I mean, they're psychos, but here it is. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not afraid for the signs of heaven, though the heathen be afraid of such. See, they do that. We understand it, not because we're a scientist or a priest told us or anything like that. The reason we know they're scared for what's coming for them, well, it's because what our ancestors told us. Who we call holy men, they're the ones who said something. And look, so in Luke, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. See, it's always that. Something's going on, right? Well, yeah. And so, look, I want you to be prepared because, sometimes, God steps in and sends an angel to help humans, right? And it's not going to be like a butterfly or blossoming flower, but it's going to be a powerful and scary entity, y'all. Look, beings that look like men always come with them. And Maccabees, it says that the treasury of Jerusalem at that time, okay, y'all, was bursting open with silver and gold because everyone adored this temple. And they paid, penance to it and came to it and food and they helped and no one was, basically without because of this place in Jerusalem. So the governor of Syria, and it says Phoenice. I don't know if that's Phoenicia or Phoenice, Phenice. Well, it sent his treasurer to get this money from the temple. And by force, if they wouldn't give it up freely, they kind of lied to the king and said, hey, there's money here. I want to go get it. So anyway, he gave him a decree. So the man leading this party to get this money was named Heliodorus. So he gets to the city in Jerusalem and spoke with the high priest, who then the high priest was like absolutely flabbergasted at what this gentleman and his boys intended to do at this holy place, because it was known by everyone to be the Most High God's temple. And he says it's impossible to do such things in a holy place. Like he was begging them, no, don't do this. And it's honored, get this, by all men on the earth at this time. But Heliodorus insisted, and because, well, he had that decree from the king, he pretty much had authority, and no one tried to stop him, although they begged him not to, but he ordered them to take him to the depository. Just sheer greed and the lust of money, right? But anyway, he didn't heed any warnings that these people or priests told him and his men. And the high priest, it says, was so shaken. And it says, those that looked at the high priest in the face, it would have wounded their hearts. For the countenance and changing of his color declared the inward agony of his mind. The priest was so compassed with fear and horror of the body that it was manifest to them that looked upon him what sorrow he had now on his heart. Everyone who seen him and what was going on prayed to the Most High God and called upon his name, Yahweh or Jehovah. So he was scared to death of what's about to go down in this temple of the Most High God, rightly? Yes. Okay, well, what was recorded, he had all rights, and he wasn't scared because these men were doing this. He was scared of what was about to happen. And that's what moved me so much, is how it says how scared the man was. And it wasn't because he was scared of these guys. So it says, Heliodorus executed that which was decreed. Now is he there present himself with his guard about the treasury. The Lord of spirits, Prince of all power, caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of God, and fainted, and were sorely afraid. Here it is, y'all. For there appeared unto them a horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fine covering. He ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had a complete harness of gold. Moreover, 2 other young men appeared before Heliodorus, notably in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely apparel, who stood by him and scourged him, and gave him many sore stripes. And Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up, and put him into a litter. Thus him that lately came with a great train, and with all his guard, into the said treasury, they carried out, being unable to help himself with his weapons. And manifestly they acknowledged the power of God. For he, by the hand of God, was cast down, lay speechless, without all hope of life. He was dead. So now the high priest is freaking out, you guys, because Heliodorus was dead. So was the men. They were like, they asked the priest, asked the Most High God to grant him back his life, right? Because they couldn't leave without him, y'all, or take him back dead. And the high priest then made atonement for Heliodorus and was praying for his life to be returned. it says like basically he thought that they would think that they did some kind of treacherous deed because like how did Heliodorus shows up and they kill him, right? So they said, oh no, they're going to come and get us with the army's going to come and kill us all because we killed Heliodorus. So it says, now as the high priest was making an atonement, the same young men in the same clothing appeared that was before and stood by Heliodorus with him standing up now, saying, they tell this to him, give Onias the high priest thanks, insomuch as for his sake the Lord has granted thee life, and seeing how thou hast been scourged from heaven, declare unto all men the mighty power of God. And when they had spoken these words, they appeared no more. So Heliodorus, after he had sacrificed at the temple now, he ends up making great vows, it says, unto him that saved his life, and saluted Onias and returned with the host to the king. He then testifies to all men what had happened, what he witnessed with his own eyes. He records the God Most High resides in that place, and it is protected, and forever leaving the treasury alone. Now, there are so many accounts, y'all, and many warnings, right, to not be misled. Remember, these people worship the other dude, okay? And we know the stories, and they're horrible to even repeat anymore. I mean, the things that King Og said, our history is so blanked out of giant pieces, but we just need to remember, I don't know. It's the truth by these clowns coming out now. I'm so concerned, y'all, that this is all just given. Look, I forgot about CERN. I'm not going to give them a pass, y'all. Now, hold on a second. Now, when you go and look at this Dr. Greer guy, okay, and you check out everything that's happening right now, and you check out who is actually giving up the information, it says they confirm this. They're doing exactly what we claim, though, in CERN, using high-powered electromagnetic fields to open or attempt to open portals. Well, this CERN is where it's located at is my issue. Now, even if nothing's going on here, this is just, a coincidence. I'll just tell you. Here's the coincidence. If you didn't know, CERN is built around the exact area said to be where Apollo's temple was, where he descended into the bottomless pit. Now, even if it was an accident to build it there, I mean, come on, y'all, but recorded as early as the 1600s by explorers, people living in this region right there, around France and Swiss, right in those little, I'll get the exact, when I do this, I'll put the exact one up here. These people living in this region here, they keep the name of God on their doors and entryways. It said for the spirits. So in the 1600s, these people were freaked out because they were like, spirits and stuff roam this place, I mean, imagine how creepy that is. Now, these rulers and elite, they've been promised y'all eternal life, fame, power, and riches. And you have to know this. They're not lying when they tell you this. And all that will mean pretty much absolutely nothing one day, but they admire their God and they see his power. And since they don't know about the true God, they're misled in the dealings and thoughts. He's showing them, signs and wonders and giving them gifts, and, they're blinded. And they're blinded. I mean, greed and lust by men. I mean, that's strong. But the fruits of this world, they're blind by it. They can't see it. In Revelation it says, and they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, saying, who is unto the beast? Who's like him? Who's able to make war with him? I mean, look at what these famous people do. They get caught in vats of blood and doing seances and Osiris rituals and I mean, it's horrible, right? And we see it, but we laugh about it, or someone will say something about it, but nobody, but they don't know they're being lied to and pretty much led to the slaughter. Anybody can see this is happening, y'all, and that their God is going to be helpless in this last fight. Like, he literally isn't going to utter one word. I mean, it's going to be bad. No matter how the story plays out, if we choose the wrong side, and there are only two choices, no matter what religion you believe in, no matter what you believe, there's only two choices at the end. Now, he doesn't tell them, Satan doesn't tell them that who he strives to be like. Everybody wants to be like Satan and be evil and wicked, right? Well, who does Satan want to be like? Who does he admire? Who does he look up to? Your God here that you worship. Well, they never heard that part about it. Is it Apollo, the powerful angel of the bottomless pit that Satan loves and wants to be like and adores or anything? No. How about Michael, the most powerful archangel that's ever in any book? No, not that dude. Maybe Zeus or Abydos. I mean, come on, name any of them, right? How about this Baal character? Okay, Baal of the sun, moon, and stars. I mean, that has to be one of the big ones, right? No, no, and no. Here's what he wants to be like, people. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, and cut down to the ground, which did cast lots upon the nations? Yet thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, and exalt my throne above and beside the stars of God. I will also sit upon the congregation on the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of clouds, and I will be like the Most High. Funny how that works, isn't it? Truth in plain sight. You see, they can't see that, though. And it's okay. It's no worries. Let it pass, right? Because for a change, God wins this time around. You see, we've known who this Most High is for a very, very long time. It's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, from the Geneva Bible of 1599, before King James, Psalms 83:18 read this way: that they may know that thou, which art called Jehovah, art alone, even the Most High over all the earth. Imagine that. Now you remember this name, my friend. It could someday save your life or not. It's your choice. You choose. Now, I hate to do something and be doomy and gloomy and stuff, right? I hate that. But, sometimes the truth just sucks. But fear none of those things which you shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. But be faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. That's right, my friends. Do not fear these clowns and their silly show. Trust in the God that sits most high over all the heavens and earth. They are fools, and they will do foolish things. I say, do not be misled. Do not be amazed at the wonders that you're going to see, especially with any of them. And don't take their gifts, and do not partake in their little rituals or drink their elixirs. Stand strong. Be a human being created by God that nothing has the power over, including any of these so-called aliens or fallen ones or evil ones or interdimensional beings. I don't care who they are. Dominion is yours and ours. It was given to us alone. That story is true. It is our world. And as crazy as it is, it's still ours. Okay? We love it. And until the king returns, be a soldier. Because we're not afraid of darkness, right? Come on. We don't yield or bow to any of those gods. Only one of them. And no one can grant us eternal life but him. Never forget that, people. If you ever hear me out, never forget that. No one, being nothing, can grant you eternal life but the person that created you. Never forget it. May the Most High bless you all and keep you safe. I love you. I'm Wild Dog, and I am out of here.